So I have two questions. In the school board meeting, Superintendent Kegley explicitly said that hybrid students would not be offered the option to switch to online learning should the district decide to switch to full in-person. Do you think students and their parents should be allowed the decision to switch to hybrid? And also, you've all recognized that there's an academic benefit to being full in person. Do you think that an increased number of people going online would dissuade that benefit, or do you think that people going online are people who just wouldn't find that benefit as much?
So, in response to the first question, the first part of that question, I definitely believe that people who are currently in the hybrid model should have the option to go online. Um, right now, taking that risk from going, a couple days a week at, a school that's a little bit less than half capacity, to jumping to being full time at a school that is, almost full capacity is safety wise, no matter how we do it, that is going to be a risk that everyone needs to take. And if people are not comfortable with taking that risk, I think that they need to have an option, have a safe option to continue schooling without carrying that extra burden. And in response to the second question, I think for the vast majority of people, it will be better for them academically to have more time, with the teachers who are teaching the things that we need to learn and to have more time, submitting assignments and more time just interacting with their peers and everything like that.
Okay, so first off, I would probably be one of the only kids to say that my grades have actually improved since I've gone fully online. I think I have a more unique way of learning, so I think that might be the main reason why. But to your second point, I think the school has done an utterly horrible job of keeping kids safe at this time. We've seen an eagerness to want to go fully back to full school, and there's no way of keeping kids safe in that format. It's just germs spread way too fast, and a lot of kids I know actually ended up getting COVID because they went back to school and they spread it to their family and older family members. And also keep in mind, we don't know the long-term effects of COVID yet, and more data is going to say that this might affect us in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, our 60s. So I don't want to take that risk either. So there's definitely a lot of risks to going fully back online.
I honestly think there should be a choice to go fully in person or fully online. I mean, we got the choice to begin with to go hybrid or not. So why wouldn't you like bring that option to do that again? I mean, I know plenty, handful of students that would succeed better fully in person or would succeed better fully online. I mean, my learning is probably way different from all of you in a different sense or similar. And honestly, giving students that option because you did at the beginning of the school year. I don't think why it would be huge of an issue right now. There's a handful of students online right now, so we just kind of push for that same learning plan, and you can still push for that hybrid same learning plan if we were to switch back full time.
Do you as students feel that the switch from hybrid learning to online learning and then back again around winter break was disruptive? Was it harmful to your academics? And do you think that having a switch to full in person would be equally disruptive?
Yes, I do think that it was disruptive. Any big changes like that are going to be, hard for everyone to deal with logistically and, just mentally kind of figuring out what you're supposed to be doing, how to make routines and habits out of the things that you need to be doing in order to succeed. So I do think any change is going to be disruptive. It's going to be hard to deal with, but it depends on, the outcome of that change, I think is what is really important. So it was difficult, and I don't necessarily think that going online was helpful at all for me, but safety wise, it was what needed to be done. And so taking that kind of thoughtful approach and applying it to this situation, I think is really important.
I would say, yeah, the switch to full online after winter break was disruptive, and I think that because that's not something that's normal, like that's not something anyone is used to. We've been on hybrid for 2 quarters up to that point, and just that switch back to full online was just like, whoa, okay. But I think for a lot of us, like I can only speak for certain for me. If we move back to full in person, sure, for the first week it'll be a shock to our systems. Like we'll all be tired, but like we've been doing full in person since kindergarten. I think our systems will just kick right back into gear because that's what our bodies are used to. That's what our bodies are like have been. I don't want to say trained, but like that's what we've been doing since kindergarten or like first grade even. So I think yeah, for the first week it'll be a shock, but I truly think everyone will get back in the swing of things very quickly.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's a pretty unanimous thing that the transition to fully online mid-year was very difficult. I think just schedule-wise, just like it was just a tough transition. And I think going back full time will definitely be a transition also. But I think in a lot of ways it can be positive. Academically, everyone will just do better. Well, majority of people. And, while mentally it might be challenging at first, I definitely think that it could be an easier transition than the one in the winter.
Earlier, one of you mentioned mental health. Do you think that your or others' mental health would improve if we switched to full in person? And how do you think the risks associated with COVID-19 would affect that?
Um, so I feel that we should definitely take that into account. If we were to go fully back online, which I'm proposing, I think that we should create certain groups in school and outside of school that could talk to people who don't have that specific support system to help them. I know personally my friends and playing Xbox a lot with them has helped me mentally when not going back to school, although it's not nearly as many people as I'm used to talking to.
I completely agree that it is dependent on, the type of person that you are, but I think overwhelmingly students' mental health, if they do choose to go back full time, will be improved. I know that personally it has been, a tough thing to deal with, isolation wise, and it's a higher stress situation not having, the support of your peers and teachers with you all of the time. But it has also been nice to, not have, 5 days in a row of constant, interaction and stimulation and kind of having that time to take a break. That has been nice for me. So I do believe it depends on the student, but, as far as the majority of students, it will be helpful.
I also overall agree that students going back, it will improve their mental health, especially going back to the question of if they have the choice, because I mean, if they're choosing to go back full time, then that probably means that they know that it'll help them mentally. And I just think having more support of teachers and being able to get the most help that you need again, like in previous years, and just having that social interaction, I know for me is really important. And so I do believe that it will definitely help.
For those of you not wanting to switch to full in person, what would it take for you to feel safe or just want to return to full in person? Like, what would it take the district and the schools to do for you to want to do that?
Probably reach out to the parents and ask their opinions because ultimately it is up to them and the student's decision, and just seeing how comfortable they are with bringing their students back full time. For me to go back full time, just a really thought through plan of what they can do, and not only do they just publicize it to everyone, but have everyone's opinion on it before they make the decision.
For me, it is kind of an impossible situation, because with just, the pandemic that's in the world right now, there's really no way to make in-person learning full time completely safe, which is, obviously the the ideal situation. That's what we want to happen. We want everyone to be safe. But I honestly can't think of any other safety measures that could be put into place, to make sure that everyone stays healthy while switching to this new model. So I'm not saying that we're not doing enough right now. I think we're doing, the best that we can with the global health situation, but I don't necessarily think that we could do any better. And we certainly can't, guarantee that everyone is going to come out of this safe and healthy.
On top of that, I know our school isn't as big as the other Division 1 like district schools, like all the Olantangis and stuff. We have what 1900 students, but our school building physically just isn't cannot hold that many kids again. I know before COVID it was fine. Yes, I loved being really close to my friends, walking right next to them, meeting a bunch of new students, like just being able to work on group projects and group assignments and all that stuff. But just what we're going through right now, health wise, it is just like physically impossible just to put all those students back into the same building. Now, if we had a Hilliard building or an Olentangy and we had our 1800 kids, maybe, but it's like unlikely.
In a statement provided to me by a teachers union representative, they said that a majority of teachers were quote, very concerned about the return to full 5 days a week schedule. Teachers worrying about how to keep students safe. Do you think that should be one of the main concerns of the school board in deciding whether to return to full in person?
I do think that that should be a big part of the consideration. But I also believe that the safety of the teachers should, be kept in mind as well, because they are going to be, the ones there. They're going to be seeing, more students every day than, maybe even the students are. So, the teachers worrying about the students, that's very nice of them. That's something that should be kept into mind. Of course, the students are worried themselves, and the teachers also, there's an element of risk with them participating. There are so many different perspectives. There's so many people who are going to be put at risk if we do go back full time to school and, kind of getting all of their understanding, all of their their permission that they're okay with this extra risk is going to be very important.
I just don't know. Like throughout this conversation, I've been thinking, and I don't know if it is possible to get every student safely in a classroom. Every teacher I've talked to has said if I need to fit a whole class in my classroom, they will not be social distanced. And like it is just impossible for me to do that. So like that just brings up my point. Like obviously if we cannot do it safely, like we should not do it and we should stay in this hybrid model. But if we do find a way, cool, yeah, we should go to 5 days, but I just don't know if it is logistically possible.
And just to go like on top of that, just because the COVID numbers are decreasing, and we're seeing about 2,000 or less cases a day, doesn't mean we should flip a switch and say it's okay, we're all fine now. Let's just go back to how we were. It's just gonna like skyrocket from there. And health is the number one concern, although education is very, very, very important.